short film More Together is now available on Broadway HD and Prime Video. For each of you, do you remember what it was about the script and your respective characters that made you want to be a part of it?
For me, it was the music. The minute I heard the music and I got the breakdown for the audition, I booked a vocal coach right away and I was so excited. It was actually a really funny situation. My agent submitted a bunch of people for it and it said Vancouver locals only. And at the time, I wasn't a Vancouver local. But I already told her, I'm like, I booked a vocal coach. So she didn't have the heart to tell me not to do it anymore. And she just let me. And then it turned out for the best. So
For me, it was the coming of age aspect. Like, obviously, the musical, I love musicals. I've always loved musicals. But the fact that it's like a real life problem and that it is realistic was really was something that got my attention. And the fact that it was told through a musical perspective was like the cherry on top. So I saw it, I was like, okay, this is awesome. The character kind of fit me, and I was like, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring. I really want to be a part of this.
Time is never a luxury when you're working in independent filmmaking or filmmaking in general. And you really do believe that these two characters are best friends. How were the two of you able to build that bond so quickly?
We actually met only from Zoom, or did we? We had a vocal session did beforehand we started filming, right?
yeah, so we did the recording of the music before we started filming. That's when we first met. And then after that, when on the first day of filming, I wasn't supposed to be there, but I came anyway because that was his day to shoot. So
We also had a press like the day where we had like the tripod and we went to a bunch of places all over Vancouver and recording moments like we got pizza and
Mm.
we went to the beach and recording all those moments. So we kind of got to bond then. All of us, like me, Jake, Angel, we all got to bond, and I feel like we kind of grew our chemistry just from having that time beforehand. We were lucky, I feel like.
during the Splinter Day, because it was like essentially little tiny mini dates in each one, that's kind of when we got to know each other.
Angel, that performance of Two Little Lions is such a standout in this short. As an actress, how did you create this space for yourself to tackle all those different vulnerable places that your character's in for that scene in particular?
I took my contacts out so I couldn't see anyone or anyone filming me, and I kind of just put myself in that position. But I did the whole thing basically blind.
Mm.
Obviously, except when I was driving, but normally the whole time I just kind of pretended no one else was there, and that was just my true, authentic experience in the moment.
Wish I had contacts now. Oh my god,
Yeah, same.
that's such a good hack.
Yeah. And Oscar, similarly, you do such a brilliant job bringing Tom's transformation and this coming of age journey to life, embracing his vulnerabilities and, feeling and exhibiting that maturity as the film goes on. For you as an actor, how did you find your way to this character from where he starts and then where he ends?
I feel like I have had friends, um, like I've had friends before that kind of grew into me feeling a little bit more for them, and I kind of use that as a baseline. I never had the full like I'm in love with a friend type thing, but I know how things can grow and I know how much things can fester if they're left unsaid, and I know how it can feel like you can explode. So in like the first before they know or he confesses his love, I feel like it's a feeling like you can explode, and I feel like I knew that feeling so well that I was just able to channel all those unsaid feelings I've had as like a child or a teenager
Mhm.
beforehand and use it for that. But yeah, it was really like I've never I at that point I never even had a girlfriend, right? So it was tough to like show like
Mm.
that kind of love because I never experienced it. But it just kind of worked. Like I really think that it just kind of the process and the way we filmed it just kind of made me feel like it was real, and it was just
Yeah.
great.
I think there's an earnest quality that you brought to the character. I think it also helps that you filmed it when you were 17 and everything is
Yeah.
kind of fresh and new. Angel, I also love that scene with Lucy and her mother and the heart to heart that they have. Who were the women in your own life who've held space for you in a similar way? Did you channel any of them into that dynamic?
I kind of channeled it in a way where, in a perfect world, that's the type of healthy conversation I could have with my mother and feel safe enough to actually cry in her arms about it. So I kind of channeled this fantasy idea that I've always wanted.
And then Oscar, there's also a moment where Tom talks about the fact that Lucy and him balance each other out. Being an actor and a storyteller is not the easiest career. Who are the people that have kept you level-headed through all the ups and downs of this industry?
I think there are two main people, one being my mother. She has always been the one to like get me back to reality, to like ground me whenever I get overwhelmed or in my head, or just you all know how it is to just get super like over. I feel like overwhelmed is the only way to explain it, but she's always been the person to like ground me and keep me in reality. And then my coach, like mentor and cousin, Robin Ross, she I do every she coached me throughout this whole, like all the acting scenes as well. We do every audition together, everything. She's taught me everything I know and everything that I have to expect. And I honestly don't think that I would have been able to get through some of the things I've gone through, or even be pursuing this life without her. So I really am grateful for those two.
Yeah. It's so important to have mentorship in this industry. And perfect segue this next question for you, Angel. When you were 17 years old, you told your favorite art teacher that you wish that one day you could be a lead of a musical, but didn't think it was possible because you never saw anybody that looked like you in roles like this. What would you tell your younger self today? And what has it meant to you to know that little girls who watch this film will know that there's endless possibilities because of your performance?
I don't know. I feel like it's very healing for my inner child. Even when I was in the midst of filming for this, I was definitely like, am I allowed to be here? Even though I was definitely allowed to be here. So it was a lot of like rearranging mentalities in my own head and coming to the realization that the world is changing. And I love that. And so to be able to be a part of a moment where I can kind of be a representation for a little girl that looks like me is very exciting. And I feel like for me, that's what makes this whole process worth it. Um, and I think that's the most fulfilling part is being that representation that I didn't have growing up.
Yeah, you're blazing a trail for young girls that look like you. It's going to be so impactful. And Oscar, you've also gotten to work on projects of all sizes. What is it about independent filmmaking that excites you as a creative and a storyteller?
How close everyone is. There's a big difference between a big production and feeling disconnected from, like, I mean, it's just the way it is because it's so
Yeah,
big, it's impossible to, but when you're doing an independent film like this, you literally get to know every single person, you know everyone's names, you know, you literally become a little family and become excited for all their successes and excited to see it with everyone. And you know, in big films, like you, there are people who do become in that circle, but it's just impossible for everyone to become. So the biggest difference for me is the aspect of camaraderie and family, and it reminds you why you're in this industry, because everyone is just so passionate.
yeah.
And it's really amazing to see. I went from doing, well, I went straight from this to doing the bar mitzvah movie, and that's a completely different scale, right? So I barely got to know anyone in the crew compared to this, and it was just like, it was interesting to see the contrast between the two.
There's something like special when a small group of people all get together and they have a passion for the story that they're telling. And this is a question for the two of you, but speaking of passion, Jake co-wrote and directed this. How different is that filming experience when the person who's created this narrative is also at the helm directing and also has experience in front of the camera? What was that collaboration like for each of you?
I feel like the best directors are actors who are also actors. They really understand what you need to get the right performance, how to portray it. There are sometimes directors who care more about like how the shots look and not so much, they don't really focus on the acting, which is great. But because Jake is an actor, he really made sure that we got everything we need to know about the character's performance and acting in each scene. And I thought that was really great.
I really love that because it was my first thing ever where I was the lead in something. I did feel a lot of pressure and I didn't know what I was going into because I didn't really have a lot of experience. It was one of the bigger things I've booked at the time. And Jake was a really great mentor in that sense, where he wasn't impatient or unkind. Like he was very like will work with me, coached me through it, and also gave me freedom of expression to do things on my own as well. Like he was a great balance, and the way that he directed us was just so helpful in the moment because I didn't really know what I was doing. And so I had a great time going through that as my first process and my first time doing a lead role. I really learned a lot in the process as well because Jake was such a great teacher at the same time as directing.
I think the two of you are absolutely incredible in this. And it's also so rare that a short film will have a soundtrack release for it. What was that reaction like getting to hear it for the first time for each of you?
We were together. I have a video of us listening to which one? Pinch Me, I think.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember your face. It was pretty surreal to hear. It was on like the big speakers in Jake's living room. And it was pretty surreal because my 90% of my phone is musicals, which is very important. But to have yourself be in one of those tracks that's going to be on people's phones was insane. And to hear it like so clear and vivid and like it was insane. Speechless.
I've always dreamed, like you have no idea, to hear my voice or just like be able to sing one of those like Broadway type of songs. And growing up, I would always sing them, like whether it be Disney or like Broadway music. Like I sang everything, but my brain was like, I'm never gonna be that person. And then when I got the first listen to Pinch Me and then like our other songs as well, I was like, this is not real. Like I had to pinch myself to wake up because I was like, this is so cute. It's so Disney vibes, or to my perspective. I was like, it's so adorable. I loved it. I love the storytelling in it. I think being able to sing Drew Gasparini music is so cool.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. I just love the soundtrack objectively, with or without my voice. But the honor of being able to be a part of it and it being Drew Gasparini, so cool.
It was also terrifying though. I mean, those songs, some of those songs were pretty well known
Yeah.
in that space. And I remember my audition. I was sick. I couldn't even sing the songs. I had to like do another song because I couldn't hit the notes. I had no singing experience whatsoever. So even hearing myself in being like, oh, that sounds okay, was really crazy as well because I'd never heard myself like that before either.
The film's out now. It's been incredibly well received. It's won awards too. What do you think is resonating most with audiences? And was there a scene in particular that you were each really excited for people to see?
My favorite two scenes is Right for Us, like the end song and the scene in the classroom with Miles. I For some reason I just love that the whole Miles and Tom exchange, and because I feel like I was like it was I mean some of the dialogue isn't really what it would be like, but it was very realistic to how kids would talk to each other and how I would talk to my friends at school.
Yeah.
And it was really just cool to see. It just felt really real. And then Right for Us, I just feel like that whole scene was so well done. Like the lighting and cinematography
Yeah, the cinematography is
was
fantastic in this.
so amazing. And I think that there's two groups it really resonates with: the people who grew up listening to the songs like Jake did, and also the teenagers or young adults who are seeing this. Maybe people who've gone through something similar, hopefully not, but maybe that. I feel like the teenagers though, it's really for them and to see people like themselves go through real stories.
I think for me, I had two scenes that I really loved to be a part of, but I was so nervous. One was with Jill Morrison when we did the pharmacy scene.
Hmm.
I did research on her before that. I did research on everyone just
Shout
because
out
I was
Jill.
really nervous, and I was like a new actor. Everyone else was so much more experienced. So I searched her up. She was in To All the Boys I Loved Before, and that was the first movie I ever saw representation represent me. So I was like,
Yeah.
am I the Lana Condor in this scene? Like it was so cute. I even have like a screenshot of us where she's facing me and I'm like in front of her. And then I screenshotted a movie part scene with Lana Condor and her, and I was like, "That's me." So it's like a vision board that came true. I was really excited
Mm.
for her, and she was great. And then obviously the mother scene I loved so much. I really loved working with my mom, so it was just like an amazing process, and I really loved the in that scene. I learned so much, like um, I didn't know you can walk on boxes to look taller. That wasn't me. That was my mom. But I learned so much, and it was so fun to film both scenes with women that I learned so much from.